Morning. My name is David Goodyear and I work for DoMyOwn.com. We've been a Hexnode customer for about a year. DoMyOwn.com is the largest e-commerce retailer of commercial grade chemicals and equipment for pest control, lawn and garden, and pet and animal care. We have 2 fulfillment centers, one just outside Atlanta, Georgia that serves as our headquarters, and another in Salt Lake City that allows service to our West Coast customers more quickly. I'm the IT manager, and I'm the sole on-site employee dedicated to all things technology. While we partner with a local MSP for our larger scale needs, such as server and network maintenance, the majority of day-to-day IT operations falls to me. We came to Hexnode in late 2019 as we tried to solve a problem we were having. Our development team had recently begun building new versions of our pick and pack applications with a few specific goals in mind. We wanted to enable the use of modern hardware and software, lower our overall cost per hardware unit, and achieve greater platform flexibility. Prior to this, we had been using in our warehouse these old DataLogic scan guns for the purposes of picking and packing. They ran a proprietary skinned version of Windows CE, utilized a text-only application with a proprietary application tied to an internal server, and while the framework of the application was moderately customizable, it didn't allow for things like images or certain alert types within the apps. The hardware was also slow, bulky, and aging into obsolescence, and we eventually ran into a point where the manufacturer told us that they would no longer support repairing these units if they were to break or otherwise stop functioning. They were also expensive, running between $1,100 and $1,200 each new, for what ultimately boiled down to a very rugged and durable, but overall less functional and less flexible form factor than even a basic modern smartphone. The replacement devices, while running a newer version and more flexible version of the OS, ran between $1,900 and $2,400, which is a bit of an ouch in the budget department. But the platform flexibility is the main thing that we were looking to achieve. By moving off of the proprietary platform and hosting the application ourselves, we are able to write a much richer HTML-based solution than any of our development team can work on without having to rely on outside parties for assistance. So we needed the picking hardware to be portable, but ultimately we wanted it to be wearable and thereby completely free our employees' hands. After some trial and error with a few different devices and form factors, we finally decided to use Android smartphones on a 4-arm mounted strap and mount originally built for runners, with the smartphones in question being the Google Pixel 3a. But the problem, which led us to Hexnode, was that we needed a way to manage them. And as a company, we were completely unfamiliar with how this was done on Android. Our needs were fairly simple. We needed to lock down the devices to specific function only, restrict usage to a predetermined set of apps while retaining the flexibility to add to this feature set in the future without much hassle, and we needed to have easy maintenance of software through automation of security and system updates. Part of our reason for choosing the Pixel line was Google's track record of providing bug fixes, security patches, and OS updates for at least 3 years. For comparison, until very recently, the majority of Android smartphone manufacturers barely made it to the 2-year mark. Beyond that, we wanted to set up a geofence to know if one of these devices ever left the building, and if they did, the ability to remotely wipe or remotely lock these devices if they were to leave. And then, obviously, with the lack of experience and familiarity we had in play, we needed the process to be simple and preferred that the cost not be extravagant. So we looked into several competing platforms, but ran into several roadblocks there. Several of competing platforms required onboarding at a scale that we wouldn't be able to meet, such as 100 device minimums or on-site hosting that we are at this point in the process unable to do. They also, in many cases, included features even in their most basic plans that we'd be charged for, but we would never need to utilize, such as Active Directory integration, customizable BYOD onboarding portals, and included extras like VPNs, cloud storage, backup, and that sort of item, on top of the generally more expensive cost per device. But then we found Hexnode, and they checked all of the boxes. We were able to lock down our devices to specific functions only through their kiosk mode. We enable a browser, a web app, and a limited settings menu for the pairing of Bluetooth peripherals and Wi-Fi troubleshooting. We also lock the devices to landscape orientation through this kiosk mode. We also were able to restrict the usage of the device, and Hexnode enabled us to set the devices not only to be able to access a specific set of apps, but within the browser and the web apps, we were able to whitelist specific sites, prevent the changing or setup of cellular networks, and eliminated the ability to add applications except through Hexnode itself. Maintenance is also made very easy through Hexnode. While automatic updates can sometimes be a risky proposition, as you never know when an OS update may break a core function for one of your applications, our application needs are fairly simple. Since everything runs in a browser, there's minimal risk of an update catastrophically stopping our ability to function. We've set all of our Android updates to be handled automatically by Hexnode, and the few times I've had to look at a device for an issue, I've always found them to be fully up to date software-wise, and as a one-man IT department, I can't ask for much more than that. As far as geofencing and location tracking is concerned, Hexnode is able to check the device's locations on a set interval, ranging from every 15 minutes to once every 24 hours, depending on your use case. In the event that a device is set down and lost within our warehouse, I can ping its location through the admin portal and make it play a sound through its speakers so that it's easier for our staff to find. The geofence can also be set to notify an administrator via email if a device appears outside a predefined area, which is useful if your devices are like ours and are never supposed to leave a particular building. As pertaining to security and missing devices, if one were to go missing or leave the building, your admin can go into Hexnode's admin portal and either remotely lock down or completely wipe all the data from a device if it's determined that it's gone missing and can't be retrieved. And the platform has been remarkably easy to use. While I have an MSP to back me up, I'm a one-man shop, serving around 60 employees across 2 locations. I need to automate and simplify as many things as possible so I can just check in on things rather than babysit them. And Hexnode's interface is a clean, well-designed, and simple-to-use layout. Like most UIs, there's a little bit of a learning curve to figure out where everything is and what each function does, but the layout is simple and easy to follow. It took me about 2 days of poking around in the admin page, along with a few excursions into the help center, to figure out how it all came together and how it all worked. Policies are simple to navigate and construct within the application and the framework. You come up with a criteria, set a few parameters, and apply the policy to the device or devices. As an example, we use one policy to set user restrictions on the device across the board, and a second to enable the location-specific features like Wi-Fi connections and geofences for our 2 warehouses. And then there was cost. For the features provided and the support received, the cost per device is very competitive and should be well within most budgets. We opted for the ultimate subscription for the reporting options it offered, and at less than $4 per month per device, it's a good fit for us. I should add here that an additional soft benefit that's not easily quantifiable these days is the quality and promptness of Hexnode's support. My issues over the past year have been minimal, but when they have come up, responses from the support team have been quick, thorough, and very helpful, which is a drastic difference between them and several vendors and other entities I have to deal with. So in conclusion, we had a simple but specific set of needs, and while we didn't want something too simplistic, we didn't have use for the bloat and extra features offered by other players in the MDM sector. Hexnode met those needs and delivers excellently on their promises for a very fair price. And as a one-man IT shop, I appreciate any tool that helps me keep things simple, streamlined, and provides the support that Hexnode has given us, and I thank them very much for what they've done for us.